This is an entire whole pork shoulder. It's often called pork butt for reasons only butchers of yore could possibly know. It seems like a stupid name for me, but it's pork shoulder. And pork shoulder is perfect for sausage, and it's perfect for Chuckwagon pot pork. And I'm going to show you how to do this. It's one of the easiest and most satisfying recipes you can possibly imagine. And it goes back to the origins of that pot, which is colonial Africa, where they're basically cooking game meat over open fire on the plains. We're going to cut this into pieces that are pretty large. So when, in this instance, if you read a recipe that says dice meat, you don't want stuff that's the size of a dice. You want stuff that's about 1.5 inches across. And let me show you what that looks like in your hand so you can see it. Like that, big pieces. The reason for that is that these are going to break down as they cook. And if you have tiny little pieces, you're going to end up with something that looks more like pork mush than a delicious, chunky pork dish, which is what you're really going for. Also, I'm going to cut this cap fat. This is one of the key things that you need to make this dish succeed, and it's one of the reasons the pork shoulder, which is a sausage cut, is the one to use, in that it has some fat. So on the fat, if you take a few pieces and cut them into smaller chunks, it'll be really helpful as you start the dish, because these are going to render down really quickly and they're going to make everything else fry instead of boil. And I'm sure you've read enough recipes in your life to know the difference. So these are small pieces of fat that we cut up earlier, and I'll stir this up and you'll be able to see why it is we wanted to do this. This is going to render out really quickly like bacon grease, and it's going to keep anything from sticking. Not that sticking is a big issue, but it's just the right way to do it. And you don't have to wait. This happens quickly. You can see already there's juice rendering out of this, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the meat right in. All right, big chunks of delicious pork headed in. Now, I am not going to put all of it in at the same time because we want this to brown. So my favorite version of a Chuckwagon pork is North Carolina style. And to my mind, the very best commercial North Carolina style barbecue sauce is Scott's sauce. If you've never heard of it, get online, go to North Carolina, do whatever it takes, buy some, buy a case. After you've gone through a case or two, maybe you want to try knocking it off. That's what I'm going to do right now. It's pretty simple. Theirs is going to be much more complicated, but it's basically equal parts cayenne pepper and black pepper, and then a 1/2 part salt. So when I say part, in my world, that's a part. It's a, what your grandmother might have called a handful. So I'm only going to use 1/2 of that. You can always go back and add more salt later if you wish. Then vinegar. And the great thing about this North Carolina style sauce is that the vinegar really cuts through the oleaginous, or greasiness if you will, nature of pork. It's a great counterpoint. It's like mixing wine with butter. And the whole notion of this is we're going to pour some of this in at the right time, and we're going to let the vinegar cook down so that the pungent sort of acid bite of the vinegar goes away, and it leaves that nice mild, in this case, apple cider vinegar undertone that makes it delicious. So the idea on this particular dish is just to cook it in its own juices with this vinegar-based sauce over time, letting the sauce reduce down, increasing the flavor and the heat, because if you'll remember, there's a bunch of cayenne in here, till it tastes the way you like it. So here we go. You see that vinegar is going to reduce itself right down, and all that sort of tartness that you find objectionable is going to go away, and we'll just be left with the delicious flavor. So we'll put the lid on that. We'll check it in, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. we'll just keep working on it until it's done. So this should sort of give you an idea about how versatile and functional this pot is. I can't spill this. It's completely safe. It's suspended from a single point, and it's not going to spill. It's not going to burn me. It's not going to ruin dinner. It's just easy. It's built for what it's doing right now.